Alright, so we're gonna go over what I expect for the next weekly candle on DXY, right? So as you can see, right, we've been in this disgusting range for a while, right? Here we've had a nasty range, displaced lower, nasty range, but then took out the range lows, pushed up higher, took out the buy side, and then here for the last month we've had a nasty range again, right? But we've had eventually we did have this AMD that played out right on the daily accumulation manipulation into this daily fair value gap, which I was waiting for how long, 2 weeks. So eventually we got that right. We had this manipulation to the daily fair value gap, and then we saw this displacement higher, took out the range highs, retraced back into this daily order block, and then on NFP we got this push up higher, took out the previous day low, and now it looks like price is gonna come for the buy side, right? So so for next week on DXY, right, luckily we are finally out of this range, and we've had a clear manipulation inside of the range, suggesting that we're bullish, right? Respecting bullish daily key levels, massive displacement today, right? So at this point, what you want to wait for is some sort of retracement, right? You want to wait for a daily fair value gap to form, and then maybe around towards the middle of the week we can expect expansion towards the current the next week's high, and then we also have this high as a draw on liquidity, right? Why would I focus on this high and not this high? Because this high is quite close intact to the next week's high, and then you also have this, this bearish order block as well, right? So this can cause some sort of resistance before price comes for the buy side, but eventually this would be the target as well, right? So Monday would 100% be a skip, right? Prices are massively overextended, right? Prices, we've seen a push up of 100 pips today, right? So what's the likelihood of Monday also being expansion? Is more likely Monday is going to be a retracement profile. We have this 4-hour fair value gap, right? So if Monday can be a consolidation or retracement profile, I want to see Monday or Tuesday be a either consolidation or retracement into this 4-hour fair value gap, which should also form a daily fair value gap, right? And then see if we can get some sort of hourly displacement from here. Probably, maybe it might even consolidate a bit longer here, and then see if we can get the low of the week to form around this area, right? And then see a continuation higher, something like that, right? We also have this inversion, and what we definitely don't want to see is for price to, we could tap this inversion fair value gap. All we definitely don't want to see is price to come back inside of this range. So you don't want to see price to lose the middle of this inversion fair value gap. You don't want to see price to come into this range at all, right? Because then that would likely be a bearish AMD, accumulation, manipulation around the range highs, and then if we disrespect this whole 4-hour fair value gap, price is likely gonna come back, give that U-shaped reversal, and then sell off, and we probably in the market make a sell model, right? And then come take out these lows again. So if we're bullish, right, you want to see this especially this 4-hour fair value gap to hold, right? The daily fair value gap is the main priority for me, right? We just want to see a range to form. You just want to see a range to form, and then sweep the range lows, and then wait for the hourly to turn bullish, and then that would confirm the clear low of the week here, right? And then you can just look for longs back to the previous week high and this current buy side objective, which is my draw on liquidity for next week. So that's what I'm looking for, right? Same thing on euro. We broke out this range, and we do have this 4-hour fair value gap. So if Monday can be consolidation or retracement, and then you want to see price to sweep the Monday highs into that daily fair value gap, and then we can go short here. We have this low as a draw on liquidity, which let me mark it out. So we have this low as the draw on liquidity, and then we could see continuation below this low into these lows, but eventually this low at 139 on euro is eventually my draw on liquidity, right? So don't think we'll get there next week, because then we'll have a 2 weeks of large expansionary profiles. But I would say for a low hanging fruit, this would be a draw on liquidity. Monday could also take this out and then give the retracement, right? But because I prefer if we have daily equal lows, because then I'd be low resistant lows. I would prefer if we start to, because the daily candle hasn't closed yet, right? On Friday, I'm recording this before the weekly candle closes. So if we can start wicking up higher, close around here, and then Monday is clear range day, and then we get that AMD, that weekly power free, and then we can look for shorts into the into these equal lows here. That would be the game plan ideally, right? But we'll see. That's the game plan on euro and DXY. Pound as well. Not really liking pound because we got all these equal highs here. We still have this low intact, right? So that can act as a draw on liquidity. But then this is also high resistant liquidity because we swept these lows here, right? On euro, these are relatively equal lows, and then these are also high time from equal lows. So yeah, ideally I would focus on euro. I like the framework on euro more than pound, right? On euro GBP, bias is very hard to get determined on this pair, right? Because equal highs and then equal lows. It does look like prices more or less drawn towards the equal lows, and we're currently rejecting off of this daily fair value gap, right? So logically it would make sense for price to come for these lows, but for intraday to determine the relative strength is quite hard, right? I usually just go based off which daily chart looks cleaner on euro or pound to determine which pair I'm trading. So I don't really use euro GBP as much, but yeah, to me, I just want to see price to sell off into these equal lows, which should favor euro to be the weaker pair than pound. On USD CAD, really time frame, we left these equal lows, right? But because DXY is bullish and the bias is bullish, and we've inverted this fair value gap, price came into it, retraced into it, and then we pushed up higher from it, right? It only makes logical sense that price would come and take out the buy side, and we even have this high as well, which could also be an extra on liquidity. Honestly, UCAD was actually quite clean, if I'm honest, right? Because we have this daily rate, this hourly or 4 hour range, right? We have this accumulation, we have this engineered low into this imbalance, and this imbalance also forms this daily fair value gap, right? So we swept those lows into the daily fair value gap, so we have a clear, and we have this high as the drawn liquidity, right? These equal highs, so we have a clear bias, and we have a narrative to anticipate higher prices from here, right? And then what happens, we push down lower into the daily fair value gap, we retrace up higher, we sweep this low one more time, so we get that reversal pattern, right? The two sweeps, initial sweep into the key level, and then one more sweep, right? I mentioned this a lot of times in my trade breakdowns, but price comes into the key level, retraces, and then sweeps the initial low that comes into the key level, and then you get that reversal. That's usually a high probability reversal, right? So we got that closed above this down close candle, forming the order block, and you could literally just long the order retracement into the order block, right? You could literally just take that, and that would be your high probability long framework, and that would have gave you a 1.8R. Say you want to hold it for the high time frame target, that would be almost a 4 hour trade, and you would pretty much be edging TP at this point, heading into the Friday daily close. So Yeah, that would have been a nice trade. That was actually quite clean, right? If you wanted to even be more conservative and wait for price to invert this fair value gap, then I would even wait for the 15-minute time frame, right? Once we confirm this new order block, then I would have probably long somewhere here, because at that time, if you wait for the hourly close at this point, you might even just miss the move at that point. So I would have used the 5 or 15 minutes line intraday once you get out of this imbalance, because we've disrespected multiple bearish PD areas at that point. So if you just wait for price to invert this imbalance as well, then you're waiting for too many confluences at that point. So yeah, even if you longed around here or longed here, still would have been almost a 3-hour trade, right? Even if you long the next hourly open, high, low, close, still a almost still a 2.3 hour trade. So yeah, pretty clean on UCAD. And then let's check the other pairs as well, right? We'll quickly go through those. EuroCAD looks like it's going to sell off at least to this low at the minimum, right? We've swept this low and currently rejecting off it, right? So if rejecting the external, we can anticipate price to come take out this internal, and we have these equal lows on the 4 hour as well, right? So this to be a drawn liquidity. Same thing with GBP CAD. We even have an SMT here, right? Because EuroCAD failed to take out these highs, and GBP CAD has taken out these highs. So we might even anticipate EuroCAD to come and take out these high time frame lows as well at some point. But yeah, I would be bearish on both these pairs if someone out there trades exotics, not me, but so if someone's out there trading this, I would favor lower prices next week on these pairs, right? UJ, horrible price action, right? Look at how choppy this is. If you go onto the 1 hour time frame, or the wick, just loads of wicks, right? Even here, wick, massive wicks. So say you're some at this point, once you closed above this whole imbalance, is obvious price is bullish, right? But to align with something like this, you're just giving yourself a headache, because you're gonna get cooked by one of these random wicks that comes out of nowhere, like 3 p.m. at London. You see a massive wick, and then you see the next hourly candle reverses. Here, massive wick, even though this wasn't even NFP. 9 a.m. candle, just massive wick to the downside. Let's even go on the 1 minute time frame. 9:01, massive wick to the downside, and then the 9:02 candle reverses the whole move. Let's even see these ones. Yep, 12:34. So someone is getting liquidated on these candles right now that only trades UJ. So yeah, not me, not something that I'm trading. But if someone is trading UJ out here, because I have a bullish bias on DXY, I'm anticipating this high to be next, but definitely not something I'm trading. Yen pairs, all the yen pairs are probably going to be doing the same, but GJ, obvious bearish bias, right? This low and potentially this low here, and we even have an SMT with EJ at these highs, so we can anticipate this trend line lows to get wiped out. AUD USD as well. This Aussie pair looks quite clean, right? 6th of May. So we even have Aussie even has a high time from SMT here, right? With NZD, we have this high time from SMT, and we came back into this imbalance. 29th of May. So the 29th of May candle caused this bearish SMT. Aussie rejected off of the imbalance, and NZD Kiwi managed to sweep the highs and then sell off. So yeah, I'm anticipating Aussie to come and run into this internal low, into this fair value gap now, right? So yeah, it looks quite clean. Not pair trade as well. But yeah, if someone trades these pairs, they actually look quite decent for shorts next week. Same thing as euro. I'd wait for daily imbalance to form a range, and then look for that bearish AMD framework next week from that daily fair value gap. But yeah, euro odds, buy side's likely next, right? Rejecting off of these lows into this daily fair value gap. Same thing here, right? Daily fair value gap, pushing up higher from it, took out the previous day low. This buy side is likely next, right? That's if anyone trades GBP odd or euro odd. USD Swiss daily actually looks quite decent as well, right? We took out this April low here, right? We took out that previous month's low, displaced up higher. We formed this bullish order block, engineered this low, swept this low into the bullish order block, formed a propulsion block, and then at this point you can anticipate these trendline highs to get wiped out, which is what happened, right? This kind of already took out all the buy side, and then we retraced back into the daily order block, and then today we've seen a push up higher. So let me see if there's any framework on the high time frame, on the hourly time frame. It looks quite similar to the DXY, right? So once you closed above this up close candle, you could have actually longed this. You could have taken a long here and then TP at this high for 2-hour trade. And then at this point, once we tapped the propulsion block, there wasn't really any framework, right? We just sent it higher with NFP, but clear framework at this point. These equal highs is the draw liquidity. I would wait for a range to form, sweep the range lows, and then look for that power free into that weekly power free into these equal highs, right? So this pair also looks quite clean. don't really trade this pair either. I mainly just trade euro and pound, UCAD occasionally, but this could also be a pair to look out for next week. And then oil, don't trade the shit. And again, if anyone trades this, I wouldn't recommend it, right? Because this is purely based off news. We had this large news candle form, and we've only been trading inside of this range ever since. So if anyone's been long on the short end, they've just been getting cooked in this range the whole time. It can go either way. If it goes to the range lows or range highs at this point, I have no idea. We have equal lows here, we have equal highs here, and I have no idea where it's gonna go. So who the fuck knows? Bitcoin, we have this daily, this weekly fair value gap, which is also the monthly fair value gap, which I've been saying in my outlooks for months now. I'm anticipating a top to form around here, and then a sell-off, which is what happened, right? Very clean in my opinion. Accumulation, manipulation, and even at this point, people were anticipating the high to form here, but why was I not anticipating that? It's because we had this monthly imbalance. So, and we have this weekly engineered high, so I was anticipating price to run up one more time, sweep this high into the imbalance, and then sell off, which is what happened. So yeah, I was even swing short, but the thing is I closed my swing shorts because I took it on a prop account and the prop firm was cooking me on the swap, so I just closed it at break even. But yeah, if you wanted to swing short this, you could literally just short above these highs and then put your invalidation around here, and then your TP would be around here, which is exactly what I took, right? You would have to firm around 11 days of minor drawdown, but other than that, you would have hit a clean TP here. There wasn't really any opportunity to get in line, right? Because once we sold off, we just sold off fast. We left these equal highs here, right? So if we swept these equal highs, then that would have been a framework to go short on BTC, but we didn't. And then we also front run these daily imbalances, right? We didn't even manage to tap them. ETH tapped it, but again, it's not really any framework here. But yeah, at this point it was pretty obvious, right? Once we formed this new leg here, at this point it was pretty obvious at this point that the top was in and we're gonna sell off. At this point, when price was trading around here, I wasn't too sure, right, if the top was in, because we left these equal highs with no SMT. Even Ethereum left them, but I was expecting one more push up higher to run the highest and then sell off, but we didn't get that. But yeah, once at this point it was pretty obvious, especially with how the weekly candle closed, right? We formed a bearish order block. At this point it was around here. At this point it was quite obvious that we can expect just straight dump, especially if you look at how the monthly candle closed as well, right? Sweep, close back inside the range. What can you anticipate? The third candle to be expansion candle, and we got it straight into the drawn liquidity. And yeah, what do I think about BTC now? Literally the same outlook as before, right? Nothing's really changed. Well, I was saying around here, I'm expecting price to come for these lows, which will happen, and then after we close on the weekly below this low, my bias is now to see price go to 48k, sub 50k. Again, my bias is still not changed, right? We've now rejected from the imbalance and came for the lows, so I'm not really expecting price to reject these lows and reverse up higher. I'm expecting price to, especially if we close like this within the next day or two, I'm expecting price to, continue into these lows. But yeah, I wouldn't align with BTC shorts right now. To get into shorts, you want it to be short from here, right? You don't want to short here now, because we've left so many imbalances here. We're quite deep into the range, so I wouldn't look for any more shorts here unless we start to accumulate, maybe form a weekly fair value gap. Then that would be framework to go short again. But again, like, massive range, and last time we had this massive range, look how long it took for price to consolidate before we saw this sell off again. So maybe next week we just have another massive dump and take out these lows all in once, or we might range for days, weeks, months before we take out these lows. Who knows? I'm not too sure, but the bias for me is still this low here at 49k for BTC. So that's the drawn liquidity. Same thing with Ethereum, right? We got these equal lows on the higher time frame, so this is my drawn liquidity. 1,360 or 1.3k, $1,370 is my drawn liquidity. And then we could actually see below sub 1k, right? Because this low is resting around the 1k mark. So price, if BTC gives a deep pullback into the 40Ks into this imbalance, for example, then we could actually see price go sub 1k for Ethereum, right? That's not really off the cards, but this right here is a low hanging fruit for me, right? 1.3k for Ethereum. So that's what I'm anticipating. Gold, I don't know if we're gonna come for this low, honestly, because of how long we've been in a range. We've now taken out these equal lows into this rejection block, so we could see a pullback or a bounce up higher from this area. I'm not sure, but yeah, this doesn't look like something you want to long, right? This does look bearish, but when I short this now, no, we took out the drawn liquidity and we're largely overextended. So that's two low probability conditions to anticipate price to just be a consolidation profile for the next week. So yeah, silver as well, selling off, came into this the rejection block. Not sure if it takes out the lows yet. It needs to wait for more price to develop, right? And now NQ and ES, this one is looking very interesting. Very clean work. This week was actually quite clean for shorts on NQ and ES, right? We started the previous week out and we are massively overextended, and on here, yeah, we swept the previous day high, we closed back inside of the range. And then if you go into the hourly time frame, we had this hourly market maker sell model framework, display slower, reaccumulated, display slower again, and then here we formed this hourly imbalance. I was actually short somewhere around here, and then I got break even before price dumped into these lows. But the next day you could anticipate another bearish daily profile, right? After we've confirmed this swing point, you can anticipate another bearish sell day. So we have this hourly fair value gap, we have the engineered high at Asia, So we literally got a liquidity sweep into a key level, and then we sold off. So I don't know if you trade the lower time frames, 5 minute maybe. Fair value gap here, you could have shorted that with invalidation here. 1 minute time frame. You could also shorted something like this, invalidation up here, and then targeted the Asia lows. Yep, Asia lows for 4 hour trade. But yeah, very clean framework. This is something I would look for in Forex actually. A sweep into a key level with a clear bearish daily bias, and trading above the daily open. So yeah, clean expansion straight into these trendline lows right here. Clear market maker sell model in the hourly time frame, and then yeah, pushed up higher, took out this high one more time, and then sold off again. So again, you can anticipate the bias for the next day to be bearish. And then yeah, same thing here. We had this high engineered accumulation manipulation into this hourly fair value gap, and then straight meltdown today, right? Sold off. We had these equal lows as a higher time frame draw, and that literally just got hit a few hours ago. And then yeah, now we've only seen continuation since, right? So yeah, massive sell day on NQ. Very, very clean market maker sell model, right? We have this accumulation, but and we've only been going higher, and here we've formed the smart money reversal, lower sell, and then dump again, and then your second leg redistribution phase, and then massive expansion today. So I would be expecting price to come for this low, right? This accumulation low next week to finish off the market maker sell model. But yeah, at this point, would I short NQ? No, I wouldn't, because again, we are so massively overextended, right? You want to see a pullback maybe into this maybe into this imbalance, and then look for shorts. But yeah, at this point, because of how overextended we are, we can only anticipate consolidation at this point. Either that or price just goes straight into the drawn liquidity. That's something that could also happen, but at this point you don't want to engage in shorts because we're massively overextended. So you want to wait for reaccumulation and a pullback, and then look for your short setup to form, right? Don't be getting chopped up before the actual move happens. You want to wait and be patient. So yeah, maybe if a daily imbalance forms, and maybe Monday or Tuesday's accumulation, you can look for that midweek reversal into the low. But yeah, markets look very clean right now, right? Hopefully Euro can offer something. EuroCAD's already gone, so I'm not even focusing on that. Maybe Swissy, that one actually didn't look too bad, right? I do really like the framework on Swissy, and I do like the framework on Euro right now. So those are probably the two pairs that I'm going to be watching next week. Potentially pound as well, but mainly Euro USD. So yeah, end the recording here.